Hey guys and girls, we're back here for another video. Today we are with Will McDonald. You do it.
McDaniel.
Yeah, it's Will McDaniel. I did that for his benefit. He's already had to school me on his name. Will McDaniel, and most of you guys who have met him know him as Bardahl. For those of you who haven't met him, my God, have you got something in store for you when you do meet him?
You've been lucky.
Yeah. Well, today we're going to talk to him about he was one of the fortunate ones like we were to be somewhat in the inner circle of Elvis Presley's life. His tenure with Elvis was during the early days, during the skating and fairgrounds and such. And so to start off, I'm going to let Bardahl tell us, how did you get involved with the Elvis story, Bardahl?
Well, in 1957, I was skating at Rainbow Skating Rink. I worked there as a floor guard. And one night, the guy that run the rink, Joe Perishini, got sick. His brother Leo owned Rainbow, Skateland and all, Clearpool. And so Joe come to me and asked me, he said, Willie, said, you want to work a private party? That all you got to do is give out the skates, put the skates up when you get through, lock up and go home, that it'll pay you $50. 1957, $50 to a 17-year-old was a whole lot of money. I said, yeah. But he didn't tell me whose party it was. This is
Yeah, we gotta, that's all right. Cats get in my videos all the time. We love them and they love us.
And so, but he didn't tell me whose party it was, so, we locked up the rink, and next to the skating rink was the terrace room. It was a fine eating establishment. And so about 30 minutes later, two guys come in. They come in from the side. They let in 150, 200 people. All these people I didn't know a soul. So I give out all the skates and all, and then I put on my skates. I get out there with them. So we've been skating for about 30 minutes. Elvis comes walking in. And now I know whose party it is. I've already heard about the silly games and all they played. So I got off the floor, and Elvis had his skates locked up. So I had to unlock the, get his skates, give him his skates. He put them on. We all got back out there skating. So I know 30 minutes later, everybody out there skating, all of a sudden, somebody starts blowing a whistle. I look around. All the females are getting off the floor. The males, half are going to this end of the rink, half are going to this end of the rink. Well, I'm down at this end of the rink, and I see Elvis down the other end. I tell the guy next to me, say, hey, I want to get Elvis. The guy said, okay. Hey, Elvis, this guy wants you. Elvis says, okay. I'm going to knock him on his butt. They blow the whistle, and we have a free-for-all. About 5 minutes later, when I woke up, they had me in a chair, and Elvis was standing up, fanning me and apologizing. I said, man, I said, your party, let's go play some more. So we got out there again, and everybody lined up on the rail. Now, I'm going to stick it to him. Blow the whistle. We all come down. About 5 minutes later, when I woke up the second time, I was pissed now. So I finally said, okay, come on, let's go play some more. So everybody lines up. They blow the whistle. The only two people come down the floor was Elvis and I. 3 times was a charm. I laid Elvis out cold. When Elvis hit the floor and all, and I looked down there, and there he was, and oh shit. And I went and hid under some tables and chairs over the counter. And so Elvis, real rest, told Elvis, said, Elvis, said he's over here on the chair table. Elvis said, oh, okay. So Elvis comes over there, looks around there and does this. I said, oh hell, I know I got an ass whooping coming. My dad raced automobiles. And a friend of his had the BARDAHL distributorship in Memphis. And
What was BARDAHL?
this is similar to the t-shirt that I had on the night I met Elvis, except it had BARDAHL all across here. BARDAHL is a motor oil additive for automobiles.
So it's in automobilia and
Yeah, additive.
yeah.
So I come out from under the table and I stand up. I'm looking at Elvis, and Elvis is looking at me, and Red West is on my side.
Uh-oh.
And Elvis looked at me, and he looked down at my t-shirt. He looked at me, he looked down at the t-shirt again. He said, BARDAHL. Red said, I like him. Give him the phone number up to the house. He can come up anytime he wants. Elvis turned around and skated away. Red West pulled out a pencil and paper, wrote down the phone number at Graceland, and handed it to me.
Wow.
And Red West skated away. Now here, I just been knocked out twice by Elvis. I just knocked Elvis out, got the phone number at Graceland, and an invitation come up anytime I wanted. And the phone number at that time was EX74427.
That later turned to 398, didn't it?
I don't know.
Or 227? I don't know. Do we need to know? No. I got a kitty cat wanting to crawl up my leg, so y'all forgive me if I giggle or something. Anyway, we're back here with BARDAHL, and the next question is how often did you get to go up to Graceland and go to the fairgrounds, etc., or did you?
Well, it might be 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Yeah. Just depended on what kind of mood Elvis was in and what activities were going on.
What activities? He rented the Memphis Theater. He rented the Crosstown Theater. He rented Liberty Land. Just had fun and all, stayed around the house. You know, it was all different kind of things.
Yeah. Did he ever go back skating with y'all again?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you get knocked on your hind end again?
Not by him.
You learned your lesson, didn't you? Did you, you did go play football with them too, though, didn't you, sometimes?
Oh, yeah, that's, you know.
Where'd they used to play?
Normally we played at Graceland Elementary School.
Uh-huh.
Then a time or two we played at Whitehaven Stadium,
Yeah.
Whitehaven High School, under the lights.
Yeah, the night time, so you could see what you're doing. Yeah. So, how, of the Memphis Mafia that was there at that time, I know you mentioned Red. Who all else was in attendance in those days?
Yeah, Billy, Marty,
Billy Smith, Marty Lacker. Red was there.
Red and his cousin.
Gene Smith?
No, Red's cousin.
Oh, Sonny West.
Sonny.
Yeah, yeah.
Sonny. And Billy Smith.
Was Junior and Gene around at that time, or had they already left?
Dean wasn't around at that time.
Yeah. Was this before or after Elvis went to the Army?
Both.
Both? Before and after? What about Charlie Hodge? Did he join in to him? No. And Joe Esposito didn't either, did he?
No.
Was Jerry Schilling joining in at that time, or had he already gone on and...
No,
he hadn't come back to the group yet,
no.
had he? Yeah. Alrighty. What did you end up, when you left the Elvis world, so to speak, what did you end up doing as a career, or what did you end up doing?
I raced automobiles for over 20 years.
Was it racing? I mean, like drag
stock car racing.
Stock car racing. You want to tell us a little bit about that? Did you win any rewards and stuff?
Well, I run late models, and I lived up in Dyersburg for a while, and I'd leave Sunday nights to go over to West Memphis and race, and then the next weekend I'd go to Osceola, Arkansas and race.
So it was like a circuit then.
Yeah, But I had one of the best cars around. And so one night I go roadshow to Arkansas, and I sat there and have fast time, win the heat, and win the feature.
Oh my goodness.
So I just lowered it up, told a friend of mine to pick up my money, and Osceola was about 10 miles from Blytheville. And so Blytheville and Osceola run on the same night, so I run down to Blytheville, got there just as they were lining up the feature, paid, got in there, won the feature there. Won 2 features in one night,
Oh,
2
man.
different tracks.
You were on it that night, wasn't you?
Oh, I was on it all the time with those cars.
Yeah. Did you ever, during your racing days, did you ever get to go back and visit with Elvis, or was that pretty much after your tenure with Elvis?
You were there all the time.
Went over to Elvis's house?
Back and forth for 20 years.
Oh my. So, when do you remember the last time you saw Elvis?
Yeah.
When was that?
That was probably about 2 weeks before he passed away. And you know, the Holiday Inn, the new one down there that they made lately.
Yeah, the one on Elvis Presley there, Brooks and
Yeah, well,
Winchester.
I was coming there going to see Elvis one night, and I got the red light there, and I noticed the Lincoln limousine and a couple of motorcycle cops escorting Elvis to the airport. So Elvis turned, going down the road, and I turned left, pulled up beside him. I had CB, so I had a speaker in the car, and I yelled at him. He rolled down the window, and I told him who I was, and he wanted for me to move over, stop, and talk to him a minute. I got there and they talked to him, and he told me he was going to Vegas, and that he'd be back in a few days. He wanted to know if I ever seen the Lisa Marie, and I told him no. So he said follow him on down to the airport, and he'd give a quick tour to Lisa Marie. Now you know how you get to the airport now. Before, you just kept on going, and the airport was off to the left, not to the right.
Yeah.
And his plane was sitting there waiting for him. So we got there, and he gave me a big tour to Lisa Marie, and then he left, and 2 weeks later he passed away.
Goodness gracious. Mm. Yeah, it hit all of us kind of hard. We were living in California and learned, you know, by a news report because, you know, news travels faster than a phone call a lot of times, so that was hard to deal with. But as far as guys in the group, the Memphis Mafia, was there one or the other that you were especially close to, or was it just a big group thing?
Well, I was closer to Billy, because when I first started running up with Elvis, now I was running with Billy.
Yeah, Billy Smith.
Yeah, Billy and I were friends the whole time.
Yeah. Did you go to the movies?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I detect a story. Can we have one?
Just one.
Well, as many as you'd like to conjure up right now.
We were there at the movies one night, and I went back to get me a drink and a sandwich. Elvis and Priscilla come walking in. I turned around. How you doing, Elvis? Elvis spoke. How you doing, Priscilla? Stuck her nose up there. That got all over me, so I politely walked up right in front of her face and told her off.
Oh.
And Elvis stood there and laughed. When I got through, I turned around, went on back and sat down. About an hour or so later, I went back to the restroom, and Elvis was in there. Elvis, man, said, I'm sorry. I said, I spoke to you, and you spoke, and I spoke to her, and she stuck her nose up there. I'm sorry. They just got all over me. Said, if you want me to go down and apologize to her and all that, any of that, I'll do it. Just tell me what to do. Elvis looked at me and said, no, Bardahl. Said, I knew somebody was going to tell her off sooner or later, and I figured it was going to be you. So next night, go up to Grayson, walk in the front door, first thing I hear, hi, Bardahl. And Never had no more problem with her.
Well, so it got her thinking, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, the deal was that if Elvis didn't treat you like that,
Yeah.
and he didn't expect nobody else to treat any of his friends like that.
Right.
So when they got home, she jumped on Elvis about it, and Elvis politely told her, that my friends speak to you, you should speak to them back.
Yeah, he was always very, very conscientious of people being kind to each other in the group and his fans as well. So, yeah, he made that known to everybody. You were talking about going to get a sandwich. Did the group ever, go out and, take over a place, a restaurant or something, or did they usually have stuff sent in?
Chenault's restaurant.
Chenault's? Tell us about Chenault's.
Well, Chenault's was on Elvis Presley. Well, it was Bellevue at that time.
Right, South Bellevue.
And so Elvis will let you know what time to be there. And if you're not there by the time he said, and they closed the back doors, you didn't get in there.
Ah.
I was running late one night. I went in there and the back doors were shut. I said, oh, hell. Then I walked by the jukebox. I looked down. I saw Anita Woods had a song on the jukebox. And you just don't play Elvis or Anita on the jukebox. I did. I dropped a dime in there and played Anita's song. And you could hear them all back there just laughing and carrying on. When that song started, it was dead quiet.
Oh my gosh.
And I sat there, leaning against the guitar, leaning against the jukebox, looking at the back door. All of a sudden, it's opened up a little bit. Bardo, get your ass back here.
Who was it?
Elvis.
Oh my goodness. Oh, so you got to meet, did you get to meet Anita, or was this because he was with
I've met Anita in a long time, many times. She was one of the first ones I met because when I went to the fairgrounds, he was going with Anita at that time.
Right.
And so,
And then when Priscilla was around, then Anita wasn't supposed to be mentioned, was she?
No.
So that's why you got in trouble for playing it on the jukebox, huh?
Well, I get in trouble all the time. Now, I'll tell you a story a lot of people won't believe.
All right.
Elvis and Anita were at the fairgrounds. And I got there just before they did. And always the first thing we got on was the pippin. And so I had my little sister with me, and we went up there and got to the very last car and sat down. Elvis comes in, and the guy that was running the place for the Zippin' Pippin, he told Elvis, says, I bet you won't ride this thing anyway I will. Elvis said, no, I said, I won't, but I got somebody that will. Hey, Bardahl. So here goes Bardahl. He said, this guy said you won't ride this thing anyway he will. I said, let's ride it. Well, what Elvis didn't tell me is they had a $50 bet.
Oh.
So we rode it every way you could think of. And so last time I stopped, I got off. I walked around it looking for another way to ride it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever seen a Zippin' Pippin.
Yeah.
But it had bumpers on the corners in the front.
And
a big headlight in the middle.
Right.
I told Elvis, I said, I'm going to ride it on the front. He said, can you do it? I said, yeah, I can do it. I said, okay. I straddled the headlight with one foot on each bumper.
Oh, my goodness.
And Anita Woods got in first. Elvis got in. My little sister got in. Now, my little sister did not see me ride it. Because she was sitting there looking at Elvis the whole time. But I get on there and I grab hold of a bar that everybody else is holding on to.
Yeah.
and I rode it around one time.
Oh my gosh.
And I got off, told the guy, I said, the ship's turn. He said, nope. He handed Elvis $50. Elvis turned around and handed it to me and said it was worth it.
Oh
Shut the big mouth son of a bitch up.
Oh my gracious.
But I'm the only person in the world that ever rode it like that.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all. Sometimes the way your mind works scares me, Bart. You know no danger. So, well, for those of us that are watching in the audience, what if there's one thing you wanted them to know about Elvis Presley's in real life? Is there something you would like to know them to know about him?
He was technically the finest person I ever met.
The saddest person or fattest?
Finest.
Oh, finest. Oh, I'm sorry. The finest person you ever met.
He treated me, my brother, daddy, and all of them, treated all of them, because we had to come up there from time to time to fix his race car.
Yeah. Well, so far all of us are phones. Sorry, y'all.
Yep,
Every one of us have had our phone ring, so I
man.
apologize, but we're going to go right ahead.
Well, darling, how much time you got left?
About 5 minutes.
Oh, you got a question? Ask it.
Well, that was it. You said he was the finest person you ever met, and then you had to go up to Grossland to fix some of the cars or something, you were saying?
The midget.
Oh, yeah, the midget car.
Yeah, we raced midgets and all, and we'd been out playing football one night under the lights in Whitehaven. And so when I got home, I told my mother, I said, don't wake me up until the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to bed. I was wore out. So about 1 o'clock, Mama come in and wake me up. Said, son, telephone. I said, Mother, I told you don't wake me up. She said, it's Elvis. I said, oh, okay. So I went out there and answered the phone. Elvis said, BARDAHL'S said, I tore out the transmission in my midget. I said, okay, give me a second. I went and talked to Daddy. It was on a Sunday because Daddy was home.
Mm-hmm.
I told Daddy, I said, he tore out the transmission on a midget. Daddy said, well, tell him we'll come out, pick it up, and fix it for him. So I told him we went out there, unloaded our race car off the trailer, drove out to Graceford, loaded his on. After we got it loaded, we took it home, rechanged it. But then an hour later, we were back at Graceford, and Elvis says, didn't you get a chance to fix it? My daddy said, no. I said, it's all fixed. He said, how much I owe you? My daddy said, nothing. Tear them out, I'll put another one in for you. He went through a lot of our spare parts.
Wow. That's amazing that your daddy did that for him, too. I imagine Elvis really appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there any of the other cars that you were especially drawn to, like the Messerschmitt or the Stutz or, any of the Lincoln? The Lincoln was my favorite after the pink Cadillac.
A friend of mine wrecked the one I liked, the Stutz.
The Stutz, yeah, one of the black ones got wrecked.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he ended up having 4 or 5 of them all total, didn't he?
Yeah, but this fella, he hated to go and tell Elvis he wrecked his Stutz.
Oh my goodness! Was it still Elvis's, or had he bought it and then it?
Oh, it was still Elvis's. And the guy that wrecked it worked for Elvis.
Oh, you don't want to say who it was?
It was Richard Davis.
Richard Davis. Yeah, Richard was a cool guy. I think everybody loved him. So.
Yeah.
Well, did you do any traveling, or were you basically the part of the Memphis crew?
One day we left the Memphis Theater one night, and I went over and shook hands with Elvis. Told him, I'll see you in a year when you get back. I turned around and started walking away. Elvis yelled at me. He said, "Come here, Bardahl." I said, "What you gonna do this year?" I said, "Hell, I'll find me a job and do something till y'all come back."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "I tell you what, why don't you go home, pack up a bag, and meet us at the bridge, and we'll pick you up. And you just go out to stay with us for a year. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I got one of the guys took me home, and I go in, and I'm packing a bag, and my mother walks in. Son, what are you doing? Well, Mama, Elvis asked me to go to California with him. I'm just packing a bag. My mother looked at me and said, well, right when you get there, we're back to bed.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Oh, must have been a charmed life, huh?
It was.
Yeah. Did you ever get to see Elvis in concert?
Twice.
Twice here in Memphis?
Yeah,
yeah.
both times.
Yeah, we were there too. You know, there was something else when he was playing at home. But is there anything else you would like to share with the audience about Elvis or about your experiences?
Oh, I got many things to share with them at a later date.
At a later date? Well, that sounds good. And you'll probably, like we usually do, good Lord willing, the creek don't rise, we'll be over at the convention in Elvis Week at the Holiday Inn like we usually are. If everything goes well, you'll be there, won't you?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Well, we're going to close it up for now, and we thank Bardal for taking the time to let us share in his unique view of the Elvis Presley story. And we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you, Bardal.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.